Hey, what's up, everybody? Today is January 6th, 2026, and I am here with Jackson Lamar, all the way in Dallas, Texas. What's up, Jackson?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing?
Thanks for coming on the Dattie podcast. I know we had some technical difficulties before it started, but we're working it out.
Hey, we here. So, hey, I
We,
mean, thank you for the opportunity to allow me to speak. I've been knowing you for a while. You've always been very supportive, very positive. I met you at a convention, and you've always been a pleasure to work with, speak with, and I enjoy your feedback. Which is wonderful. You know.
yeah, I met you back in about 5 years ago, 2021, at the first SMP Expo. You actually sat next to me. Do you remember that with Picasso Jeff?
Oh yeah. Hmm.
Did you like that expo? Did you have fun there? Did you learn?
I learned a lot.
Did you?
Uh, yeah, I learned a lot, from that. I guess when it comes to expos, is about meeting great people, and that is something that I have done is met great people and having connections. That's the most important part about going to expos because if somebody's doing a presentation or a talk, I prefer to reach out to that person in person and say, can I come to your studio or your spot 2 days, take a class with you? Because for me, my attention span is not going to be great seeing an array of artists, across the stage giving their story, But it works better for me to reach out to a person in person and to get something more, get more out of it. So I met some great people. That
Meaning
makes
like
it
one-on-one training?
right. One-on-one training works better for me, or even like a small group class works better for me. But to be in a room with probably 200 people and, somebody's walking around and things like that, um, I, me personally, I don't do well with that. I can watch a Udemy video to learn something off of that, that's that's because I can shut it off or stuff like that. But that's what
Yeah,
all the conventions, that I have been to. So it's not the convention; it's my learning style. Um,
I'm very similar. I'm more of a hands-on learning, and I agree with you. You can watch a YouTube video and just kind of follow along, but I need that guidance, that one-on-one coaching, and I also probably ask too many questions, so I want them to answer it right in front of me.
there you go. Absolutely.
But it was fun. I agree with you. It was fun. Got to meet other artists. That was cool. We got to what was his name? D Chris, who I had on the podcast. So that was
Oh,
one of the main reasons I wanted to go. You remember that D Chris was there when we were doing the ASMP thing?
that was tough. Uh,
Yeah.
remember? Yes, yes.
Yeah.
No, no. I would never forget them.
Yeah, yeah, it was good. They had to use a translator the whole time, but it worked. It worked. He had like an army of girls like coaching us. You remember that?
Ain't that a shame? Yeah, yeah. It
I
was
know.
nice. It was nice. I mean, seriously, it was nice. They were wonderful.
Um, and then out of nowhere, so about a year later, I'm in
Mhm.
Vegas, and I didn't think you were going, then you just popped up out of nowhere. Do you remember that?
That was with was
S
it
Matt
Matt?
Matt Iulo, that was a Scalp Micro USA, yep.
Yeah, went to that. That was a pretty nice show, and still the same experience that I had. That's the reason why I said it's not the show, it's me, because it was those shows was well put together. Um, but I just didn't like sitting halfway in the middle and people walking around doing a presentation and things like that. That's just not my learning style. So my
Stay in your
learning.
seat, damn it. No, I know what you mean, it's distracting,
Yeah,
right?
I remember when you stood up and said it to everybody. No, I'm just kidding. I was like, this dude right here. But that's just so I'm not a big fan of, um, those expos and, events and things like that. Nothing wrong with them though, but good networking, which is very, 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 very important. I believe in that, but I
I
just
agree
wasn't.
with you. I
Mhm.
think that at least me personally, you can learn some stuff at these expos, these big ones with a lot of artists, but for me, it's more about meeting the other artists and just talking to them.
Oh
That's
yeah.
my personally my favorite part.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Who was your favorite artist that you spoke to at that at the I say at the convention that Matt had? I mean, I know I was one, but but everybody else.
That's a good, question, no one's asked me that yet.
Hmm.
Specifically at the Scalp show in Vegas,
Hmm.
I was happy to get to talk to Matt one-on-one versus just online, because I had never trained I trained with Jarrell, which is a competitor, so I had never got to, meet with Matt and have a one-on-one we've talked online plenty of times, but, meeting Matt in person, I was probably
The
the
highlight
best.
of the show.
Well, it was what I remembered the most, and I was excited to meet Matt because he made it all possible. And I think Matt is I think if Matt isn't the top person in SMP, meaning his company and everything that he does, I think
Mhm.
he's the top contributor worldwide.
I've contributed most definitely, and
Yeah, you agree?
I agree 100%.
He is
100%.
SMP. Like you think SMP, Matt's gonna be like if we had to report to an alien,
Hmm.
who's the top person in SMP, meaning globally, who has the knowledge, who's been in the industry. And Matt's a phenomenal artist, by the way.
Oh yeah.
I would say Matt. I would send Matt Iulo.
Okay.
Meet with your leader.
You with your leader,
You know what I mean? Like Matt
right?
would be the leader of SMP, of the SMP community, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree 100%.
Yeah. Good. How's business down in Dallas? It looks a little competitive. I always do my research before I talk to people, so I look at your spot, I look at all the other spots. It looks a little competitive down there.
Is it? uh, I don't think it's no competition. Um, not saying that who's better, who's worse, and who's worse, who's better, but because I enjoy what I do at the pace that I do it, I don't worry about any other person. I do know when you say competitive or a lot of competition. I'm going to be real with it. It's a lot of people that reach out to me. Um, you know, how can I say it? They reach out to me as if they're, as a customer, and they're not a customer. And they always ask me a whole lot of questions about how I run my business. Well, all they can do is be like Joey and just set up a thing like this and we can talk instead of going behind my back and sending people here to talk to me and pretending like you're a client, but you're actually a scout for somebody else. But other than that, it's really not competition. It's not a competition. I think, me personally, there are some great artists here in the Dallas Metroplex area. I do enjoy all of them. To be practically honest, I do. If anybody comes to me and say, "Hey, have you heard about this person or that person?" What do you think? To me, I think that everybody has been trained, been done. Been doing scalp micropigmentation long enough where I think that it's all about picking the personality that you want after that. So it's all about personality from here on because I think everybody's good because I've seen work from everybody. I've seen a lot of mistakes out there, but I can never knock the artist. I always talk to the person extensively because sometimes it's not the artist, but it is the client. They didn't follow the aftercare. They didn't follow the aftercare. So I never would bash any artists because all the bad work that seen that came through here, I talked to them extensively, and then they finally told the truth. Oh, I went out playing basketball and did a roofing job, and I got sunburned. I said I knew it because I know because
Gotcha, bitch.
it's true. Because
I
one
know.
one one guy he was blasting one of the top artists who I think in the state of Texas. He was blasting him. He was like he was just going on, and I was like, I said I know this guy because I trained under him. I said that's no 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 no. I said keep talking, and he was just like, yeah, that did it. Playing basketball and doing a roofing job.
And
I knew it.
not wearing any sun protection, and then his scalp starts peeling.
the day of that he got his treatment, he did a roofing job or something like that because the dots turned big and green. And so I said, dude, you to tell the truth. So that's the reason why I don't get off on artists that do that not my work thing because sometimes you never know what the deal, what the person did behind your back. Because you with that person for 3 hours, but you're not with that person, for 2 weeks at a time or something like that to see their lifestyle.
You can't babysit them, right? It's like, "Hey, you're paying for this product, it's expensive. I would take care of it. If I was you, I would take care of it."
Right. In case in point, because I know you're going to go to your next question, I talked to the guy that runs the state, for tattooing, and he says the same thing that it's people not following the aftercare. So that's one of the biggest thing in the state of Texas. I don't know about where you at, but they want the client to know the aftercare from the beginning. They want you to read it to them, make sure they understand, because when they do a thorough investigation, it always come back the aftercare wasn't followed.
Yeah, yeah.
And I talked to him yesterday. So,
I recently saw you were hanging out with the guy from Natural Effects, you guys linked up. What was that about? What were you guys doing?
basically he came out to Texas because he's from Oklahoma. He came out to Texas to visit. I think he was visiting his family. To me, he likes to travel solo, and he likes to get focused and meet different people. And he was literally 5 minutes away from where I stayed at. I was like, dude, I got to see you. He always been pleasant. From my conversations with him, he always been pleasant. So it was nothing for me to drive 5 minutes. I got kind of lost a little bit because I had to turn, but it was a pleasure to see him and to connect with him on about scalp micropigmentation.
Yeah, agreed. I like meeting artists too. It's fun, and it's
Mhm.
because I feel very isolated in what I do. Although there's a few around here, but
Joe, you need some friends, man. You need me to come out there and just some,
you know
bro.
what I mean? Well, you know what I mean. Like we feel isolated, right? It's mainly us and the clients most of the time.
Oh yeah.
95% of the time,
Mhm.
99% of the time. But that what I just want to go back to what you said. So you're saying that some people will call in,
Mhm.
pretend they're a customer, but they're actually somebody who just trained in scalp micropigmentation and try to pick your brain and then go and use your knowledge?
Reason why I feel that way because I did have a customer. I had a customer and they told the truth. They said that. Well, they said because another I guess competitor, they knew my prices. I'm like, how do you know my prices? You know what I'm saying? But the client told me that, and the clients say, they speak and stuff like that, which is good. But
Yeah.
I told them the biggest thing I'm trying to say is that if you want to know something about Jackson Lamar, you can always reach out. You don't have to be sneaky and do it behind my back. You can always reach out, just like how you reached out. And I got a person that's working with me now, and his name is Frank Mendoza. He came to me. We went to Chick-fil-A, talked for a long time, and he picked my brain. I have no problem sharing the information. Barber College reached out to me. Same thing. I did a free demonstration. That's the kind of person I am. There's no reason to be quote unquote sneaky and then to do that. And if that person is watching, which I know they are, you can contact me. We can type it up. We go to Chick-fil-A, and talk about it. And just because
You pay for Jackson's food though. Hey, just because hey, people listening, just because Jackson Lamar is jacked, because the dude is jacked. If you're just listening to this, he's fucking jacked.
yeah.
He's approachable and he's a reasonable person. He's saying just don't go behind his back and be sneaky. If you want some knowledge, he'll share the knowledge. Buy him lunch. That's all you gotta do.
Oh, now, oh, I see people calling in right now. I got Chick-fil-A, steak No, no, because the thing is that if we all work together to produce great work, then scalp micropigmentation and the industry would definitely rise above. But a lot of times, people, I get good clientele, but a lot of people are not getting good clientele because they're scared of what's going on. And so, it's to me, if we all network and produce great results, you know, have a better reputation, then it'll be an easy sell. Though. But a lot of people, I'm pretty sure people watching this, people back out of it because they're scared of what they saw. Some people are terrified from the results that they saw, and things like that. So if we all reach out, and then to me, somebody may be an expert on straight hairlines and somebody may be expert on faded hairlines. Experts always get paid the most. So it's not about dominating territory. It's about um, being an expert in one field. You know, somebody may be an expert in doing one type of person or something like that. But what I'm trying to say is that everybody's going to gravitate to an individual due to their personality, and so let's all unite and work off our strength. You know, I have, like I said,
I love that, Jackson. Yeah, I agree. I think if we all get better as artists, the word will spread and we're all gonna make more money, right?
When it comes to scalp micropigmentation, you need tools you can trust. That's where InkU SMP products come in. Jade needles are designed for precision and durability, giving you consistent, flawless results every time. Pair them with InkU Pigment, a rich, long-lasting formula your clients will love. Keep things smooth with InkU Butter, perfect for soothing and protecting the skin. And finish strong with antimicrobial foam cleanser for a clean, worry-free healing process. Ready to take your SMP game to the next level? Visit inkucare.com today. InkU SMP products are made for artists by artists.
Jackson, I just wanna start with your origin story. Where did you grow up?
man, I grew up in lovely city of Gary, Indiana.
Nice. And is that where you went to high school? Is that where you were
Went
raised?
went to high school, cut hair, and all that good stuff. That's where my beginning started. You know, so of course I cut hair when I was probably 12 years old. And honestly, the passion that I had for cutting hair is the same passion I have for scalp micropigmentation. I was just, man, I was in love with it, you know?
Were you a good kid, Jackson, in Indiana? What did you do in Indiana? What's going on over in
Yeah, I
Indiana?
got my ass beat. I was a very good kid. You know what I mean? So my father made sure of that. But in Gary, Indiana, which is a steel city, you know, a heavy industry town. Gary, Indiana. Believe it or not, they had the beauty pageant there in Gary, Indiana. Um, it was all about the steel mills, and so we had a good. You know, it was an industry town. Hopefully, it's coming back because they putting industries back in the Midwest. You know, so I see they got a bump and a lot of good stuff over there.
Yeah, I
But
hope so too. I hope so too. So, was your dad, work at a steel mill?
heck yeah,
Yeah.
that dude, that dude was like Joe Jackson. Oh yeah, Joe Jackson worked at the steel mill. You know that, right?
No, I didn't know that. Is that why he was so
Yeah.
strong?
Oh yeah, because people didn't want their kids to go to the mill because of how dangerous it was. So you had to, you know, use extreme measures. They got paid well, but they didn't want their kids to work in the mill because families and generations worked in that steel mill, and so that's the reason why. Yeah, I used to cut hair across the street from Michael Jackson's old house. I think I got a video on my probably Insta. No, it was on one of my pages that I got the video when I just drove back through the neighborhood to do that. But um, yeah, Joe, you know, those fathers came. They were very stressed. It was a I can't say PTSD though, but it was a psychological thing because of the amount of stress that one encountered in the steel mill because it was so dangerous that you know life and death back then.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
if you got an '87 Buick, I'm pretty sure it's a dead body mixed in the steel because somebody messed up and not following instructions or the aftercare, then they got, if you don't follow instructions in the steel mill, you would die. That's just what that is because
Yeah,
it's so
yeah,
much,
and I think OSHA has evolved over the years as well.
so big time.
Uh, how old are you, Jackson?
21. No, no, no. I'm 55. 55 years.
55. You look great, by the way. I hope
Thank
I
you.
look as good as you when I'm 55. The only reason I asked is because you said you moved out of Gary, Indiana when you were 35, but I wanna stick with Indiana right now. So growing up, did you play any sports? What did you do?
I wrestled.
You did? My son I just got my son in wrestled. I wrestled as well. You look like a wrestler. Good for you.
Yeah, they said I look like the dude that stay on the ground. But yeah, I wrestled when I was there. I played a little football, of course, running back. That's what I did, but I didn't do it to a great extent because I got into a motorcycle accident with that. So that was end of story.
How old were you when you got in the motorcycle accident?
On my way to football practice, it was funny. I hit a dog, right?
Oh, shit.
Yeah, two dogs came out. They saw me coming, and I hit the dog, and I rolled over, and So I had messed up a lot of stuff, when that happened. I was riding a moped back then. And so that ended my football career right then and there. And plus,
Time out. You had a moped in high school?
yes, I did.
Did the dog survive?
Yeah, yeah, the dog was back there laughing at me. No, but the dog did survive, but it cost me to this day the damages that it cost me, um, which I messed up my whole front grill. But Joey, believe it or not, in this industry, when you do the right thing, I had a well-known dentist who I did his SMP. He told me to come through and just see if everything was done right. So all that damage that took place back in the '80s, I would say he's about to fix it dirt cheap, and he's highly rated.
And that's because your connection through SMP, you met a dentist and he's gonna hook you up?
He's hooking me up. So I got braces in my front, so I got everything out of so I'm gonna be
I
like,
love that, man, that's so cool. Yeah,
boom,
man. Good for you. Good for you.
Dr. David McFadden, man, outstanding dude.
Shout out to Doctor David McFadden. That's really cool. I've
Uh-huh.
met quite a few individuals who've helped
hmm
me as well. I mean, the amount of people I've met every type of person, doing this, which is really I would have never got to meet them. It still blows my mind to be honest.
hmm
What was your first real job, Jackson?
Cutting hair.
Ev
Cutting.
Did you go to barber school?
I went to barber school, of course. Okay, so I went to barber school in the '90s. So basically, it started off when I was cutting hair. Of course, I worked at a little grocery store, and then how you cut hair in the neighborhood. Then I went into the Mighty Mighty Marine Corps, and then I was cutting hair there, and then I had another accident which I had messed up my feet. So I got an honorable discharge out of that. So I had nothing else to do. So I went to school for barbering, and after barbering, I started to teach barbering. I opened up my own barber shop in the city of Maryville, Indiana, which was pretty cool. Which is I dealt with a lot of people from outside of Chicago, Gary, Indiana, but I always I try to maintain a certain image, um, where I didn't like to keep a lot of riffraff, and so a lot of people appreciated that. So they came in, they got a haircut, knowing it was going to be peaceful uh, for that. So that's my beginnings, and then after that, I decided to move to Texas, because I never forget the hot weather that I experienced in San Diego and California and things like that. So California was it was really expensive. But then I had decided to choose Dallas because it reminded me of San Diego a little bit. Coming from Chicago area, the weather here is drier, warmer, better. And then when I worked out here, I worked in a barber shop. I didn't like that too much, working in a barber shop here. So I decided to go for Tony and Guy. I don't know if you ever heard of Tony and Guy, the hair salon. It's
No.
a it's a European hair salon, where it's like four Italian brothers that ran it. Those in the UK knows Tony and Guy, and that's what really upped my professionalism. Working with them because we've seen people from all over the world come in. I became an educator for them. Uh, After working with them for I think 2 years, became an educator with them. Took a lot of extensive so taking a lot of classes was a part of our heritage, and learning off of one another. So that's the reason why I'm believing in teamwork, looking at other artists, getting inspiration from other artists, because that's what we learned at Tony and Guy. That was part of our education, is learning how did Joey succeed. And they constantly mixed us up to work with different people, so we can pick up on people's personalities and style instead of staying stuck with one individual or one individual style. And so after that, I decided to leave there because the economy was bad in 2009, 2010. So I left there and I went into like this little small studio spot that I was cutting hair, and it was pretty good working there. And then I stumbled across, I'm not for sure if this is going to come up though, but I stumbled across scalp micropigmentation. I always try to figure out, because I'm always trying to, being a barber, I always wanted to help people. So I wanted to find a solution where people can have a better outlook about being bald. My father went through 2 failed hair transplants. He went in, he had a scalp reduction.
Oh, the scalp reduction's no joke.
Bingo. And so that tells me, so if anybody, Joe, can you tell people what the scalp
The
uh
scalp reduction, what they do is they're basically cutting the sides of your head and pushing them up towards the top to make your bald spot look smaller. So they're cutting out like maybe an inch or a half inch of skin on the side of your head and then
mhm,
pulling it up towards the top. So it's also like a mini facelift. I had a few guys that have done SMP on get that done. I mean, it's a cool idea in theory, but man, the scars are gnarly and it's doesn't seem to be very effective either. Before you go any more into the SMP though, real quick.
mhm,
Um,
mhm,
so you were in the Marines, and then when you were in the Marines, you were stationed in San Diego?
mhm.
Okay,
San Diego, Camp Pendleton,
okay, and that's where you kinda fell in love with the warm weather?
warm weather. And actually, I was cutting, in the barracks, cutting hair too at the same time. So I was like, I'm gonna stick with it and get some education with it.
Was that in the, 90s?
It was the 90s.
Okay, and you said you messed up your foot? Are you if you wanna share, you can, or if you
No, it
don't
was just basically, but Marine Corps, they used to always crack a joke. And they used to always say, we didn't make you sign a contract. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
always say, we didn't make you sign a contract. So I said, you know what? Because what happened was they told us that if we come back off of Liberty a day early, we get the best seats in the house, right? We get the best seats in the house, best bed. They lied to us. They put us in mess and maintenance. All right, have you ever been in the military?
Yeah, I was in the Navy.
Got it. So they put us in mess and maintenance because we came back early, right?
Uh-huh.
So got back early. It was like, today you won the lottery. Because you know how they crack jokes in the service, right?
Yeah.
Today you won the lottery. We was like, did we? You're doing mess and maintenance and kitchen duty for 2 weeks. I was like, wow. So I'm like, that ain't gonna happen. So I went and got diagnosed for having bad feet. So I would not be able to do kitchen duty, which is 17 to 20 hours a day. Remember that?
I had to crank for 90 days, it was terrible, on a ship with 5,000 people. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right. I wanted to move on with my platoon. I was set behind because I came a day early. So I was like,
Yeah, that's some bullshit.
yeah, I was like, we got a problem with my feet. I didn't know they set me up to get an honorable discharge for that because they didn't want to pay for,
They didn't wanna pay you the rest of your life.
yeah, extra damages and things like that.
Yeah.
And so that was in the story with that. So I was kind of hurt that it happened but it was actually a blessing. Everything is always going to be a blessing because they was going to, what's that war they was having back then in the
The
90s?
Gulf War.
The Gulf War. They was doing the Gulf War back then, and a lot of people came back a little, little messed up, from that war.
Yeah.
But when you were in the service, they said that you're going to get some awards, and you're going to be, your life is going to be,
They sell it.
yeah. But you're on the outside, you watching people crying and stuff like that. I'm like, that's what I was all excited about doing. But I learned a lot. The discipline that I got from the Marine Corps has been, A1. So I don't
Same,
trade that. I trade that nothing in the world.
agreed. Same for me. I needed the discipline, personally.
Mhm.
That's what I needed. Uh, so so you're 35 years old, you decide to move to Texas. Did you pick Dallas? That was the city that you chose? You didn't live anywhere else in Texas?
No, I chose Dallas. I just off of blind faith, I chose Dallas. And here I came here because of the warm weather. The economy was great. It was a smaller city, back then. Dallas.
How many years you been there now?
This makes my 20th year.
Congrats, man. Good for you.
Thank you.
No regrets moving out of Indiana?
No regrets. I love both spots. Don't get me wrong, because in order for me to move out of Indiana, I had to love Indiana, because I don't want to hate something and then go somewhere else. Because the problem with hate is if I hate something, it's me, not the area. So I had to learn to love that area and then come over here to be able to appreciate this area over here. And Dallas is pretty cool. I can't complain. Dallas is pretty cool. The weather is good, the people are great, the economy is good, everything is good. It lacks culture that I experienced, in the Midwest. I love hardworking people. That's the mindset of people that worked around the steel mills and things like that. The culture of Chicago is magnificent because you got, every different, it's almost like New York, you got a lot of different culture, or like DC, you got a lot of different culture up there. So, and the food, but I have no complaints.
You don't like the food in Texas? I hear the food in Texas is phenomenal.
Who told you that? Maybe Houston. Maybe Houston, the food is phenomenal,
Well,
but
isn't there a lot of Mexican food there?
listen. I got way Mexican food in East Chicago, Indiana is way better than the ones that's here in Dallas, Texas. That's
Wow. Wow. Okay.
you get a $6 taco meal in East Chicago because it's really real authentic. So the culture in the Midwest up in that area, you got real like Mexican neighborhood because that's where I pretty much grew up at. Over in there. So we had real tacos. They came in a brown paper bag. Now they come in styrofoam, and it's like 20 bucks for like 5 street tacos. Just the culture is real because every culture is very segregated, but they can mix well up north, of course, just like it is probably where you at. But yeah, the
Yeah, yeah,
culture,
yeah. It's very diverse where I'm at as well.
right?
What's up, SMP world? It's Chris with the Blends Protein. A lot of people are switching over to our products. The most realistic results are being put out using Blends products. These products were made for artists by artists. We want to make you a believer. Here's 20% off your first purchase. Use Dattie podcast. Blends for the most natural results in the world.
So was it a bit of an adjustment for you moving into Texas?
Yes, it was.
Did any of your family come with you? Any friends, relatives?
No, they didn't.
Okay. So you went solo. Now, since you've been there, are you married? You have any kids?
That's a whole nother show.
Okay, you don't gotta go into it. You ain't gotta go into it.
I was rough when I got down here because I'd never seen uh, amount of women that I saw here, and so I was different. I
So,
was, I was, I was, I had to change. God changed my life because actually, yeah, that's a whole nother show.
are you saying there's a lot more women you're attracted to when you got to Texas than you seen in Indiana?
I would say yeah.
Okay,
To
good
be,
for you.
to be
Good for
I'm
you.
trying to be professional.
Yeah, you're good. You could just you had some fun, I'm assuming?
Uh,
You had some fun?
yeah, too much fun. It was, yeah, it set me back too. Because I had met a person, and I got 2 children, as everybody know, and yeah, that's it.
Alright. Well, you don't gotta disclose anymore if you don't want to. It's all good, man.
I could though, but it'll take your show 3 more days. You know what I mean? But I don't want to do you like that.
Now you get well, you could just give us high level. You got boys, girls, how old are they?
2 girls, one is 16, the other one is 18. So that's
Do they wanna get in the SMP industry or nah?
no, but one want to get into the hair industry. She wants to braid hair and all that good stuff, and so she wants to get into that. But like I was listening to one of your shows, sometimes you don't want to spoil your kids, but you got to give them enough. So that's where we at with that.
Oh,
Is
I
that
get it. I
they
get it.
spoil them, they spoil. I don't even spoil them because I'm mean, and they take a little bit and they appreciate it. I guess they appreciate every little thing that we do for them.
That's good. That's good to hear. Now, you had mentioned you're working at this barbershop, this Italian barbershop, and then you broke away and you started your own barbershop. Am I remembering that correctly?
Well, in Texas, they got like these little studio suites. And so I started off and I branched off and got this studio suite in North Texas, North Dallas. And what I did was it was a bold move. Stepped out on faith in God and did that, and then man, it just I learned to go get clients because when I'm working in a beauty salon such as Tony and Guy, I didn't get clients. I had to go out and get clients, for that because the way everything works in that type of environment, you're gonna have to the girls will sit up front and they wait for clients and they'll pick it. But people like I couldn't
Yeah.
get clients.
Was it
I was
because do you think it was because were you one of the only black guys working with all Italian guys?
I was probably that it had its pro. Everything in life has balance. Because I was black, or we're going to call it the only, right? Because I'm pretty sure you heard of David Goggins. He always say the only. I was the only back then, and so either I get clients because I was the only, or sometimes because I was the only, I didn't get clients. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. It makes total sense. I
Because
get it.
people would be like, "Hey, Ty, how you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, this is cool, right?" And then you got people who you think would come to me like he ain't doing mines, but it taught me that we can't rely upon other people to tell you who you are. You know what I mean? Because you can't let nobody make or break you because the person that can make you could be all wrong, or the person that can break you can be all wrong. But it's up to you to define who you are. You know, that's the best way I can describe it because I was shocked at who loved me, and I was shocked who did not love me.
Yeah, and you can't make it I mean,
Mhm,
I get it. I've been back when I had hair, I was sitting in a barber shop. I know all about people are like, "Well, I'm not going to him," or "I'm definitely going to this guy," or they'll sit and wait.
mhm,
I think just like SMP, we were talking about earlier, you start picking personalities or just
mhm.
whoever you kind of flow with. So good for you. And could you give us an example of how you would go out and find clients?
Okay, so I guess we can relate this to like the scalp micropigmentation industry because I'm a type because everything I did for them because I had came up with um I had absolutely 100% success getting clients when I was working with that company and people was like, "How you do that?" Or when we had to do model night, when people go online and say, "Can we get a model?" I go out in the street and get a model. I think I don't know if you know Ian Dennis, remember him? My guy, Ian Dennis.
Yes.
He laughed at me to this day because he said, "You if you want to bring a model in, you can." I go out to the parking garage and I get a model for the next day to get scalp micropigmentation. He was like, "How you do that?" But what I do is, for those who are, those who want to do the street game first. What I mean by going out into you show people pictures. Sometimes you may not want to show people the pictures of your work, but you show people the end results of what they can look like. So they may have to pull up, one of your pictures, maybe a new person starting out, pull out one of your pictures and say, "Hey, would you like to, what you think of this look like this? This guy got a, hair tattoo or something like that. It looks good." And the person's like, "Yeah, yeah, I get it." Or they'll put one of my pictures, I hope, and say, "This is what I want." So what I would do is I'll show pictures of other artists' work and say, this guy has, I'm not saying that I did it, but that shows you in marketing, people want scalp micropigmentation. So, but what they're looking at, you got to tell them that this is what it's going to look like on you more than because if they start examining work and bad work, they're not going to get it. But if you show them, a straight medium, straight round or a square line, be like, "Yeah, I think this right here, this right here, this right here. Which one would you like?" They're going to choose one, and then they're going to, they may, try you out. So it's definitely go out to to meet people out in the streets and things like that because I did it when I first started out. Uh, and then of course you got to be careful how you talk to people because some people take being bald offensive if you pass them out a card, right? Am I right? You go
Oh,
out there
yeah.
and
I've been in the conversations where it's like I used to wanna go walk around Costco, give every bald guy a card, but
Mhm,
I learned the hard way, a lot of guys are kind of still embarrassed about it, even if they're not wearing a hat. I'm like, "Bro, everybody can see you're bald, like, it's not a secret."
mhm.
But they don't wanna talk about it. I'm like, "Fine, whatever." But I feel you, I feel you.
What's one thing you think that we can do to break that ice? Just one.
To break the ice with what?
to pass up the card to get the ball, get the conversation started
Oh,
because
I'll
we
just
already
give
know.
it to him. I'll just give it to him. What I do, honestly, when I do this, I'll go up to him, I'll hand him the card, I'll say, "Look it up, check me out, Google me, I could change your life." Something like that, and I just hand him the card and I walk away.
And
Sometimes
then
they're really interested, so I'm just planting the seed in their brain. Hopefully in 6 months, maybe they'll hit me
mhm,
up.
awesome.
Is that similar to what you're doing? But when you're trying to find a model for the next day, that's a whole different ball game.
It's a whole different ball game. So basically, are you laughing at me, man?
No, it's funny. I know all about going out there and having to do this. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Like Joey laugh, man. Let me find out you laughing at me, right?
I'm not
Because
laughing. Relax.
my screen is small, so I can't see. But anyway, yeah, that's how I would go out and get clients. That's how I go out and get not clients though, but models and stuff like that. And then when you talk to to me, when you talk to people and you educate them out in the streets, you may not get a client though, but when a lead come to you, they will feel that energy. They will feel your passion. So that energy is not wasted when you go out hustling for clients. Because I've seen it work for a lot of good people in the industry who goes out, such as Giro. Giro, to me, if he came, if I didn't know anything about scalp micropigmentation, he would sell me. I'm like, dang, I think I need it, right? But his passion, goes from one to the next so the passion and your energy is never wasted, when it comes to approaching people with scalp micropigmentation, because it may not work for this person, but somebody's going to feel it totally on the back end. That's just what
Agreed.
I noticed. Uh-huh. Or like,
Agreed.
what's that guy name who talks
John
very
Giroux.
well?
John Giroux.
Him and is it
Matt Aiello.
Matt? To me, he's a outstanding salesperson. I love his business model. I love that. But one person who, to me, shows a lot of passion is Chris Herrera. Is that his name?
Yeah,
Chris
yeah,
Herrera.
Chris is great.
When he's, to me, that right there, it'll cause me to listen, the way he, approaches people. Because I remember when he first started out, and he'll be at the health club like, hey, look at my scalp. That's how he was, back, when he first started out. So I'm not familiar with how he do things now though, but I just remember his passion when he first started out. Passion is gonna can take people a long way.
I completely agree, and you're right. Chris Herrera is super passionate, and it works. And he's
Hmm.
passionate because it's not fake. He really feels that way. He
He does.
he loves SMP. He loves changing lives. He loves
Hmm.
everything about it. And that's authentic passion is
Hmm.
really the game changer. I completely agree. We could talk about anything. We could talk about buttons, but if you're passionate about that buttons, I'm going to listen.
Right. And I think that's, for marketing in this industry, I think what makes winning SMP artists is passion. Nothing more, nothing. It's not trying to make a fast buck. Not, I want to be the first woman to ever dominate a man's game, the first African American, none of that stuff. But the sheer passion to want to help somebody and to really, to change that person's life is what's going to, win clients.
Yeah, and especially when you're enthusiastic and you're showing that passion and you're showing them the pictures and you're explaining the process, that's going to make them excited. Hey, I want to get this. I want to research it. I
Hmm.
completely agree with you. I completely agree with you.
So that's a nugget, ladies and gents. Passion.
Yes, it is. Hey, hey, because if you sit there and you talk, baby, we can make your hairline and no one's going to give a shit. Okay,
Hmm.
you don't even believe in your product. How am I going to believe in your product? You don't even believe in your product. How are you going to make the other person believe in their product?
Absolutely. And if you need an example, Giro, Herrera.
Yeah, Giroux is so good at talking and explaining it, and he's been doing it forever. Um,
Big news for the SMP world. Follicule has just dropped their new scalp pigment. It's bigger, better, and made with Hanafi Color Pigments, one of the largest pigment manufacturers in the world. Not only is this pigment backed by world-class expertise, but they are giving you more of what you need. That's right. Their new, bigger bottles mean you have enough pigment to do 20 to 25 sessions in just one bottle. And because you're part of the Dattie podcast community, we're offering you an exclusive deal. 15% off all pigments and aftercare products when you use the code DADDY at checkout. Take your SMP game to the next level with Follicule Pigments. Go to the Follicule website. Get it now.
At what point did you get scalp micropigment first on your own head, or did you learn and then get it?
Well, I knew in order for me to sell it, I had to buy it. So I had called up a lot of different clinics to figure out who does training, because when I first started, it was 10 years ago when I started looking into this thing, right? And so back then, it was only like one or two companies that was offering training. One was Scalp Aesthetics. Remember them?
Yeah, that's where I trained.
Okay. And then there was another one, which was His Hair Clinic. You remember them?
Yeah, that's where John and Matt were.
Right. So it was a guy, I kind of think, man, he's going to kill me if I forget his name, but it was a guy that inspired me to go to His Hair Clinic and train under Zhang. When I went there, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. But Zhang was, to me, was one of the best people I could have met, working with Scalp, working with His Hair Clinic. And he's one of those people that, how can I say it? You really appreciate everything he said once he's gone. That makes sense? It's like your children may not like everything you say, but once you're gone, they'd be like, man, Dad was correct. I'm glad I had him, and I'm glad that I had, Zhang, start off with, because I didn't know what scalp micropigmentation was about. And he actually gave it to me, raw, uncut. If you do this, they're gonna sue you. They're gonna mess you up. That's how he did things, and he had a reason for doing that, and he was 100% correct when he did it like that, because now everything he says make total sense, and he's 100% correct. I always gonna, anybody who has dealt with Zhang is always gonna have this kind of posture, to him, because he know the game inside and out. Um, that's just my personal experience.
I've never
If
met
it,
Zhang. I've never met Zhang, but I've heard some good things about him.
yeah, so that's just me. I love this style. If it wasn't for His Hair Clinic, I'm just being honest, I probably would not be doing scalp micropigmentation. From what I see out there on the streets, 2-day classes, we had to go down there for a week with Zhang, and then he told you that you're gonna need some more training. You know what I mean? He kept it real. And I said, Zhang, am I gonna do a client's head? He said, you should have got that straight before you got down down here. So now everybody buy these little kits, they set them out, and then they practice dot patterns, and then they do a mannequin, they practice, play around, they go through all this theory, and then they do 5 dots, and it's like, you did a good job. That was not coming from him, because he always say, that's his reputation. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that he, taught it that way, because I have not yet seen one person who took a 3-day class that can just bust out good SMP. Um, you,
Me.
it needs a system, or an apprenticeship, which is better, because you have to look. If you're looking at Jonathan Giro, Mataiulo, they did apprenticeship. That's the reason why they're way, way, way ahead. But anybody who's self-taught, it's a longer journey. It's a longer journey. But I'm gonna have to go with that route. Of
Understood.
how.
So Zhang did the SMP on your head and he taught you?
No, actually, because I trusted the company, His Hair Clinic. So Zhang told me that I should get it done from Ian Dennis, and then he would do the third session if he likes, or whatever the case may be. But I wanted, like, again, I always wanted people's different perspectives. So I was like, I'm gonna do Zhang this week, and then another week I did Ian Dennis so I can have, at least two people's perspective instead of one person. And that helped out a lot. So Zhang put the foundation in me, and then Ian Dennis actually gave me the confidence because I would mess up. I hope none of my first clients hearing this so they won't try to sue me or something like that. But I would mess up. And Ian was like, you did it, he'd tell me what I did right, what I did wrong, and things like that. So it gave me confidence. And I had to be open to share my bad mistakes with him. So that's another thing for every SMP artist out there. Find somebody you can share your bad mistakes with and be open, honest and open because everybody want to show the good. So he helped me out with that. And then I felt that I wanted to learn more and it's certain artists that I like, but that's a whole nother story. But I don't want to take up your time because I'm being respectful of everybody who's on this podcast.
Appreciate you. No, thank you for
Mhm.
explaining that. I agree. Training with multiple artists gives you different perspectives, and you see how they operate. And everybody
Mhm.
does things a little different. That doesn't mean some person is better than the other person. They just do it differently.
Oh yeah, everybody who Jackson Lamar is, and I'm gonna say this again, who Jackson Lamar is not because of me. It's all because of the people who poured themselves into me, for sure. You got Jonathan, Chandler. You have Fernando Cortez, Wilson, the gentleman from Colombia. That helped me out a whole lot. Zhang, Ian, Giro impressed me a lot. Uh, Matt Iulo, what's the gentleman that works out in L.A.? He was out, he was outstanding with
Picasso
Matt.
Jeff,
Picasso Jeff, uh, highly energetic, love his style. The other gentleman that works with Scalp Micro USA out there in
Derek.
Derek, man, because I hope Derek ain't seeing this, but I thought I was scared because the dude was huge. You know what I mean? And
He is a
he
big dude.
and the guy was real nice. I was like, and he's really passionate. I was like, oh man, this is he gave me a lot of to this day I still utilize his techniques, and so those guys I really gotta bow down. I mean seriously bow down to them, and is just start getting better and better with them. With working with different people, and I trained with a lot of different people because I'm the one that needed that. And everybody else is different. They make a trade under one person and get it, but I needed that, and that was from my culture of being with Tony and Guy, where Tony and Guy believed in nothing
Yeah,
but education. So, and
I'm
I'm trained with Vidal Sassoon too, up in Chicago. On
good.
top of it,
How do you do your marketing?
how I do my marketing is um, I did get a company. I hate to say this, but one of the things that I've learned I guess we could. You know what? We can go raw, live, whatever. So other artists can understand. And I was told never go with a company that deals specifically with one type of artist, And I never understood that until one person got mad because my credit card was compromised and my payment didn't go through within 10 days. This person told me, I got the emails. This person told me, one of the top companies for marketing, Scalp Micropigmentation, they said, if you don't pay up, we're going to shut your account. We're going to give your clients to somebody else, stuff like that. They were just going through the whole thing. And I was just going to say, I'm not going to say who it is, but I'm going to say, what's up, mate? But anyway, these people tried to shut me down. But what happened was these people who I've been working with, another marketing agency who's totally different out of the industry, they told me to shut them down a long time ago, and we did. So I'm like, who are you going to shut down? You know what I mean? Because we already locked you out the account. I said, you just showed your true colors. And that person was absolutely right. All these little marketing agencies talking about we can get you 7 clients and stuff like that. What happened is if they have a database, all they do is take your information, plug it inside Facebook and advertise and stuff like that. You actually giving them money because hot leads is the most hottest commodity anyway. So uh, for that, I wouldn't trust them. That's just me. So For marketing, I always tell people, learn one platform, learn how to do Facebook ads or something like that instead of spending thousands on somebody who's trying to rip you off and thinking it's funny at the same time.
You are not the first person to say what you're saying. Unfortunately, I hear it all the time. And I'm sure there's some good marketing companies out there, but I agree with you. Learn that shit yourself. That way you can't get effed over.
Right. And so you got to look at the model, well, how it started. So I'm going to say the model is just say, well, look at the model. Just look at what Matt Iulo, he got a person that was solely for him. He didn't go with the person that helped started it. Am I talking too much about this person? Not just kidding. But
Mhm.
you know where I'm coming from. So he branched off from a different individual and went to somebody else, and somebody who's definitely outside of the industry instead of inside the industry. But reason why I'm saying that is because that person really tried to destroy me. You know what I mean? Really tried to destroy me. But truth be told, they was already gone anyway. And I'm gonna just credit that to God for giving me that insight to let them go. Um,
Good
a
for you.
long time ago. But
Good for you.
I had them on payroll, what I'm saying, just being nice, you know what I mean? Just in
Yeah.
case I needed them. And it was just like, yeah, we're gonna shut you down. I was like, I said, do you see this email that y'all so basically if I trusted everything to them and they cut the switch off, I would need another job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. You're relying too much on them. Learn it yourself,
Mhm.
people. If you're listening to this, if you made it this far in the podcast, learn how to do the marketing yourself or hire somebody you trust. Somebody you trust that is not in the SMP industry.
Or what you can do if you trust other people and at least like you said, know, because from what I talk to some of the greatest artists that are out there in the world, they say they know it before they hire somebody. Know it before they hire somebody. And so you'll know if you're getting ripped off or if somebody's helping you out. And one of the things I did during COVID, I took a digital marketing course at SMU. I don't know if anybody heard of SMU. That's the one at George Bush School, stuff like that. So I took I just want to learn how to do Facebook ads, and they opened me up to a lot when I took that class. I was really impressed because I was just trying to learn how to do a Facebook ad and keep it moving. But they had like some of the top marketers in the United States that was working for the company, and they taught me what to look for. And during COVID, back then, everything was dirt cheap because people was trying to get money, and
Mhm.
everything was done online. That's when everything moved to online instead of going there. So I did I did, spend my money on digital marketing.
That's an
You know,
investment. That's an investment.
but I had time to do it because of COVID, back then, and so that was a blessing. So definitely, yes,
Good for you. You did your homework and took a digital marketing company so you know the right questions to ask. And
all
you
day, every day, and I understand. Not to say I'm going in and like you did that wrong, but to understand when they say, "Hey, look, it's going to take time to do this or take time to do that," I understand completely. Or to know what the analytics I need to look for and stuff like that. So I have a good understanding to be patient with people too as well because when we get a marketing agency we want instant results and sometimes it don't happen like that because the first thing they tell you in marketing class is marketing is an art and science, and so there you have it. You have to because they can tell you one thing, oh yeah, it can work, but it may not work because the art part may not function correctly. So it's an art and science. So everything is not going to work. Everything is trial and error. You got to be creative and try this out. And then you got the science part of it, where you got the analytics and things like that to to make it happen.
Oh, I'm still going through trial and error, man. It never ends. It never ends.
And
But
it's
that's the
fun.
only way we learn. That's the only way we learn is trying something, see if it works.
Uh-huh.
Take any lessons we learn from there and keep it moving.
But you Jay-Z, so this you good. You can make that happen. You know what I mean?
I'm trying. I'm trying.
No, we
Uh,
doing it. We doing it.
you're doing great, Jackson. You're really successful. So, is this your full time job? Is being an SMP artist?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And how long you been doing it? Just just SM?
Or I'm gonna say that's SMP 9 years. Took it seriously. I took it really, really seriously in COVID. You know, right after COVID when everything shut down. And when I did one client, I did one client during COVID, which I wasn't supposed to. And so when I got, what, 3 grand for traveling to somebody's house, that was a game changer for me. Instead of doing multiple, back then $30 haircuts, you know, $3,000, haircuts. I was like, okay, I got to figure out how to get more of this instead of uh, cutting hair.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, Jackson. Thank you for sharing all that information, sharing that knowledge. Where can people find you? What's your Instagram? If you have TikTok, what's all your contact information?
We'll just go with the Instagram is because I'm changing everything else. The Instagram is going to be that hair tattoo at Instagram, that hair tattoo on Instagram.
And
That
what's your
underscore
website? You have a really nice website. I looked at it.
website is going to be www.jacksonsmp.com.
Okay.
www.jacksonsmp.com.
Anybody down in Dallas, Texas, or in the Texas area, man, hit up Jackson Lamar. He will bring you back to life. And can they hit you up if they want to learn and train with you?
Oh yeah, we make it happen because to me, I believe in networking with all the artists that's in the Metroplex. What I would like to do is to because I like to take some people under our wing to bring them to make them a success instead of trying to make a dollar out of it. Because barber schools back in the day was all about if your student's going to be successful. That's the strength of your school. If your student's going to be successful, not because you collected money, but they looked at the success rate. So whatever we can do to make that person successful, that's what I want.
Fantastic. All right. Thank you for doing this.
Daddy.